Plaintiff Nicole Caslow admits she was a heroin addict, but says she's been clean for 5 years. Nicole claims she agreed to work for the defendant, but after she discovered he was a predator and she denied his sexual advances, he refused to pay her, so she's suing. Defendant Arturo Eguia admits that he and Nicole had some flirtatious conversation, but he insists it went both ways. And he has a text message from Nicole confessing that she had feelings for him. He's countersuing for a tow fee and truck damages.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
State your name.
Nicole Caslow.
Sir?
Arturo Eguia.
All right, and ma'am, you're suing your former employer for $2,482 for unpaid wages and emotional distress?
Yes, sir.
And you're countersuing for $4,066 for a towing fee and truck damages?
Yes, Your Honor.
Start with you.
Hi, Your Honor. I'll start by saying that when I was in middle school, I was in a really bad car accident. Like, I had metal in my hands and my elbow. I went through 20 surgeries, and as a direct result of that, I was prescribed lots of pain medicine at an early age, which eventually turned into a heroin addiction. And I met Art.
What age were you given pain medication?
Oh, God. Well, look, very young, 17, 18, 19, massive amounts. And I had met Art. He's a taxi driver for insurance companies, and he was giving me a ride to an appointment. I shared with him my story. And
What's your story?
About my recovery, about how I've been in recovery for 5 years. And
Okay, I haven't heard anything.
sorry, I didn't share with that.
All right, last I heard, you took a bunch of pills and became addicted to heroin.
Right, so
At what age?
I started using heroin at 25.
Okay, and then what happened from there? What was your life like?
Life in active addictions is
I just like when people come in here and say they used to be dope fiends, I like for them to inspire the viewers by telling their journey. But most people who are still dope fiends, they don't like to tell. But I thought you
I would love to
perhaps
tell.
would want to tell. Go ahead. So tell me what else you want me to know.
well, I want you to know I've been clean and sober for 5 years with lots of hard work.
Okay.
I've been in treatment 7 times, and I'm active in recovery. And when I met Art, I was sharing with him my story of recovery. That's how he actually started sharing with me how he's about to open a sober home, and he thought it would be a great fit. Well, I thought also it would be a great fit for me to help him manage his sober homes. So at that time, he had agreed that he was gonna, pay me $20 an hour. I was supposed to go by there every other week. That he was gonna pay me
How
for
many hours a week?
No, it was supposed to. It wasn't a set hours I was gonna work. It was gonna be $20 an hour if I worked. I was supposed to keep track of that myself.
You all didn't have an estimate of the days you'd work? You didn't have particular days you'd work?
No, so it was every other day. It was very open,
Okay, so
flexible.
you did have a particular, and that was every other day. Let me talk to you, sir. Give me some background, because that's very important, ma'am, the agreement. Guess you always talk this fast?
When she's using.
Just been around, haven't I? Go ahead.
Well, Your Honor, I met Nicole in May.
If you're in recovery, that's why I said if. Go ahead.
I met Nicole towards the end of May. I was actually taking her to a methadone clinic because she still takes doses for...
End of what, May?
End of
This
May of this
past
year.
May?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Methadone, even if you're clean for 5 years, that's not... You don't continue methadone for 5 years, do you?
Well, different people have different ways of coping with their addiction, so I was only transporting her to the methadone clinic so she could take her.
But doesn't that mean you have not overcome your addiction?
I would agree with that statement.
Okay, she said no. I know you don't, but okay, you think you're clean for 5 years using a heroin substitute, but I don't agree. All right, I don't share that opinion. When you're using a heroin substitute 5 years down the line, yeah, it ain't been 5 years. All right, go ahead, sir.
So I had I had picked her up, and she was, I was taking her to the methadone clinic. I did the medical transport section of driving, and so on the way there, we talked about a sober home that I was opening up for addicts.
Have you ever been in recovery?
No, Your Honor.
You never been? Okay, go ahead.
I've never been in recovery, but I did open up a sober home at the time. Now I have 3 sober homes.
What city?
In Maplewood and South St. Paul.
Okay.
in
I bought my old home that I grew up in, the childhood home, before we moved to the projects. When bought it, may have heard me tell this story before, and turned it into a sober home because so many of my relatives and friends were addicted to crack, and even some on the block that I grew up with. So I moved some of them in there, moved 6 in. All we asked is that their Social Security for the, because most of them were on the addiction Social Security of some sort. And we asked, that's all, to subsidize your care that we were giving you. And so the manager used to come by and pick it up on certain times, their checks. And this night he brought them blankets, picked up checks. Got half a mile down the street, they robbed him and killed him, and then came back and burned down the house, sober living house. So. Got another one, no, we didn't stop there. But go ahead, I just wanted to congratulate your success.
Thank you.
And give you a story how not everybody is impressed with us trying to help recovering addicts. And so go ahead, you had 3, did you establish all 3?
I have established all 3 as of now. When Nicole was helping me though, I had just opened the first one, so she was only helping me with 1 sober.
What was the agreement?
The agreement was that she could do some odds and ends for me and that I would pay her $20 an hour.
Was there an estimated day? She says every other day.
It wasn't every other day. It was maybe twice a week.
Because when you tell somebody, I want to work for a certain number of hours, you usually give them some range of hours that they're going to get in that week so that they can plan their life. Otherwise, you might need a second or a third job. If I'm only giving you, I'm going to give you maybe 5 to 10 hours a week. Okay, I count that money. So my point being, they have an estimate of what they're going to make. You're saying there was no such thing?
Correct, Your Honor. It was more of an on-call. I would ask her if she
didn't work?
I'm sorry?
She didn't have a job?
She did have a job. She had a cleaning job, or she had clients that she would clean for. So sometimes she would come to either my home or to the sober home, and she would clean. And it was like on call. It was never a set amount of hours during the week.
Oh, you had a set amount of things to be done, it sounds like, and sounds like you all could have estimated. And she said she did it every other day. You said twice a week. If we're talking weekends, not too much difference there. But I got to get a grip on the pattern of her work. And that's what I'm asking her, and I'm asking you. Have particular days you'd work?
No, so it was every other day. It was very open,
okay, so
flexible.
You did have a particular, and that was every other day. Let me talk to you, sir, because that's very important, ma'am, the agreement. Does she always talk this fast?
When she's using.
Just been around, haven't I? Go ahead.
Plaintiff Nicole Caslow worked for the defendant, but she claims he's a sexual predator who refused to pay her after she rejected his sexual advances.
You have something now?
Yes, sir. I'm very passionate about my recovery, and I have been sober for 5 years, and methadone is for some people for that long, some people for their lifetime, depending on their situation.
You always talk this fast?
Yes, sir, I always do. I've struggled.
Okay, because he said when you're high.
That's not his. No, I'm behind. Never met him.
I'm just telling you what he said, ma'am. I'm sorry. Tell him.
He's lying.
Okay. Well, that's how you coming across. I got to tell you, I'm sorry. And that's why I asked him that.
Well, that's interesting. He's never seen me high.
Okay.
So.
He thinks he has. He thinks he's seeing you high today.
He's never seen me high ever.
I'm just telling you, ma'am.
I was super excited about working for Art and helping him be a part of the sober home and then the future sober homes we were going to build together. For me, it was going to be a partnership for an extensive amount of time. In the end, I actually dropped some cleaning clients of mine to help Art. I didn't know at the time, though, that Art was a predator and a sexual addict. And the moment that he made sexual advances toward me, he refused to pay me.
What did he do?
He refused to pay me when I told him I was not interested in.
Sexual advances, please? Would you please tell me what he did?
Yes, sir.
To be a predator, as you referred to him?
Yes, sir. Many times, Art would say.
Tell me the first time.
Art, he said.
Where were you all at?
In the car, we were driving to Target, and he didn't ask, "Are you attracted to me?" He says, "What makes you so attracted to me?" It was minor comments.
All right,
like
and then
that.
what? You took that as a hit on you. Go ahead.
Right.
Perhaps he was filling it out. Go ahead.
The moment that I told him that I was not interested in him sexually, he refused to pay.
Day?
He refused to
That
pay me.
same-
No,
yeah?
2 months
That same
later.
day?
No, sir.
How long after?
At the end, 2 months later, after I'd worked.
Okay, so what was happening in that 2 months? That you claim he was sexually harassing you and preying on you
He would show up at my house unannounced.
for over the course of the 2
Yes.
months. Show up and show how many times did he do that?
Twice.
Okay, and what would
then-
happen then?
He would get angry if my ex-boyfriend was there.
No, did he tell you the purpose he was coming by for?
Well, he said it was to check on me.
Check on you, like what was wrong with you?
I'm not sure.
Did you ask him why are you here to check on me? Do you go and check on everybody?
I think it was a
You
control,
weren't curious as
thing.
to why a person was showing up at your door to check on you uninvited. You weren't curious about why? Curious enough to say, why are you here? Or why did you need to check on me? Do you think something's wrong?
I said those things.
Ma'am, your testimony is being inconsistent, and you are coming across as if you're high. Go ahead, I'll let you finish.
May I interject, Your Honor?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I had given her a chance to do some work for me. During this time that I was giving her a time, she told me she was having issues with her boyfriend. She would tell me that he was toxic. She would tell me that he was very mentally, verbally, and and started shoving her. I don't know if shoving her is classified as physically abusive, but I know
It
that
is. It's
okay.
an assault and battery.
Okay, well, mentally and emotionally, I know that she told me that he was toxic for her. He began shoving her. He never actually hit her. She ever told me. And during this time, her car actually broke down, and because I knew that she had a child, I offered her my vehicle as an emergency type of vehicle. And during that time, I said, the car is not registered. It is not titled. It doesn't have insurance on it. Use it only for emergency purposes. I met Nicole towards the end of May. I was actually taking her to a methadone clinic because she still takes doses for
End of what, May?
end of May of this
past
year.
May?
And
Methadone, even if you're clean for 5 years, that's not, you don't continue methadone for 5 years, do you?
Plaintiff Nicole Caslow worked for the defendant, but she claims he's a sexual predator who refused to pay her after she rejected his sexual advances.
Oh, I thought you were responding to her saying you were a sexual predator. That's not what you're responding to?
well, I actually am responding to that.
Oh, go ahead. What's
Yeah,
your response?
because she's telling you that I went to her house. On one occasion
couple of cases,
only,
she said.
one
unannounced.
occasion, I showed up to her house because she actually stopped returning my phone calls and text messages after she called me frantically the day before. And so when I went to her house, I was actually going to go get my title.
What had she called you frantically about the day before?
I couldn't even understand what she was saying on the phone. So I then called her and I said, what happened? Like, what's going on? And she goes, I didn't call you. And I said, no, you were screaming to the top of your lungs for like 7 minutes. And so anyway, the next day when I went to her house, I actually went to get the title out of the vehicle. That's the only time I ever showed up to her house unannounced. And I was going there to pick up my title. And when I went there, the title was not even in the glove box of my vehicle, which I was thinking to myself, why would anybody take out the title out of my vehicle at all? Like, what would be the purpose of anybody even going into my
What
glove
about you know why people want your title? All right, why would people want to take the title of your car? Why would anyone want to, particularly somebody who's, whatever, sir. With regard to any of the, are you attracted to me, or why are you so attracted to me, any of what she said, did you tell her that?
We had some flirtatious conversation. She did send me a text when we had made plans telling me that she did like me. She said that we could have some fun together.
You kidding me? Where? What? Where? Hold on. Where?
Let me pull that for
Ma'am,
you.
did you do this?
No, sir.
Okay.
Well, it's right in her text
And you
message.
didn't call him frantic the
No,
night
sir.
before he came by?
No, sir. I did not.
Okay, and then forget, he said you then
It was the-
Who
forgot
forgets
that you
that?
did it.
Your Honor, it was the only time
Sir, you
that
got to show me these texts, because
Yep.
this is a blatant, major lie by somebody.
You-
I have it here, Your Honor. Just give me just a moment.
Okay, so continue with the other instances. He came by the house twice, you say. He says once, and he said it was to get his title. What else did he indicate? He says you all flirted back and forth, but you say it was a predator situation. So tell me what else he did.
The moment that I told Art that I was not interested in him romantically or sexually, he refused to pay me. He told me one day that if I did not, at 8:30 in the morning, he messaged me, he said, if you don't return my bag set that I had purchased for him as his assistant for his other company, then I'm gonna take them out of your wages.
What does that have to do with being a sexual predator, man?
I was doing power and control. It was all about power and control.
Power and control. You didn't have the item that he was asking for.
No, I never refused to give it to him. Ever. I had emailed him prior to that, and some of my emails are in the evidence, asking him when can we meet up so I can give you your stuff. And he was saying, I'm taking this out of your wages if you don't respond to me by 4:30 p.m. today.
His things.
Right, that I never refused.
What does that have to do with sexual predator? That's what I'm saying, ma'am. You've called this man a sexual predator. I can't allow you to do that in this day and age without having you prove it. And so far, you haven't. So far, you've seemed like you're giving testimony under the influence of drugs.
How am I under the influence of drugs, Your Honor?
You sound and appear to be giving your testimony in that way. He speculates the same because based on his past encounters with you, he says this is how you behave when you're on drugs.
Your Honor, Art has never seen me on drugs.
Okay.
Art, I went out of my way all the time for Art with his sober home.
The day you crashed my car, you were definitely on something.
You crashed his car?
No, I never crashed his car.
Okay,
It's
so
not
he never
true.
crashed it. Sir, do you got any of these pieces of evidence?
Yes.
She says she never even crashed your
woman
car.
sideswipes-
And ma'am, please be quiet. What page is the evidence on, sir?
Well, if I could refer for a moment, please, Your Honor, to when she texted me and told and
Yeah,
says,
she like you. I want to hear her
Yeah.
say, I'm interested in you, predator.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
She
Where's
says,
that
"Hey,
at? Because she has certainly put you in jeopardy saying that.
July 1st, 4:13 p.m.
Page.
What page?
Page 31. She says, hey, sorry for just now responding. I was kind of in shock after reading your messages. I've had
Yeah,
plans
people
for...
will put you under investigation. They have investigative units. So even when they hear that type of stuff, it kicks in an investigation. So this is nothing to play with. You put this man in jeopardy in a big way. So the manager used to come by and pick it up on certain times, their checks. And this night he brought him blankets, picked up checks. Got half a mile down the street, they robbed him and killed him, and then came back and burned down the sober living house. So.
Plaintiff Nicole Caslow worked for the defendant, but she claims he's a sexual predator who refused to pay her after she rejected his sexual advances.
This is Nicole. Hey, sorry for just not responding. I was kind of in shock after reading. I've had plans for 6 months to go to North Carolina with my dad. The fact that I didn't realize that was next week is clear indication of how stressful and crazy my life is. But this is exactly what I need. I mean, we already have tickets and everything. Wow. Well, I was so confused when my dad texted me this morning, confused again, and told me I had to be at this house Sunday by noon and don't be late. So yeah, I've literally been running around like a chicken with my head cut. I'm going to hopefully pick up my car now because it would be nice if we could still hang out tonight. So I'll let you know what the deal with the car situation.
And it gets even better, Your Honor, if you go
What
to
page?
page number 34. If you go to the bottom half.
Because this certainly isn't how you deal with a predator, a sexual predator.
Well, just wait till you read number 34, the bottom part of the paragraph.
I'm not sure what you want me to say. If you want to not spend time with me outside the sober house stuff, then I'll have to respect that, meaning that she wanted you to. Oh, no, let me go all the way up to the top. Hey, I just woke up. Definitely not going to call you at this hour. I'm a bit confused by your mail. Yeah, I was the only time we had actual plans that I couldn't make. Okay, I'm not sure what you want me to say. If you want not to spend time with me outside of the sober house, then I'll respect that, meaning I'll respect it, but I'd like to spend time with you. I hope you have a great day. I'm flying out tomorrow morning for beautiful North Carolina and we'll be back. I like you, Art. and I think we could have some fun together. Anything you want to say?
Yes, sir. I don't have those messages in front of me because fortunately,
I just read them.
right. But
I know you can question the authentication. I've
No, I'm not
already
questioning
authenticated it.
authentic-
It's already authenticated. You want to respond? So, you want to say once again you're confused or don't know? Everything I've read and everything I'm hearing is that you're confused pretty often.
I never-
And that's another sign of drug
But the
addiction.
message before that was me explaining to him that I was only interested in him and I was interested professionally,
I
not
understand,
romantically.
Ma'am. No, ma'am,
It does not say I like him
I understand.
romantically.
Your claim is dismissed and yours is granted for perjury.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Would you like help with drug addiction?
Your Honor,
Would you like help with drug addiction? All right, that means obviously you do not. Come back or call our producers. We'll be glad to help you with drug addiction if you need, because I believe you're still addicted to drugs based on your behavior, based on your testimony, based on the texts I've read regarding your activity and behavior, and based on the testimony he has also given me. Have a good day.
I would like to say to Nicole that addiction doesn't help you in any way, shape, or form, and I hope you get the help that you need and not confuse somebody trying to help you as somebody being a sexual predator.
or you know you owe me that money for working for you. You know I sent the invoices to you and you didn't pay me. So for you to come to this courtroom and act like you don't owe me money is wrong.